Welcome everybody. Invite all women to join us at 1601 Quentin Road every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Okay, so tonight we are learning. We are learning tonight Lui Nishmat Yecheskel ben Avraham. Okay, so now the way that I want to focus on tonight, which is obviously the topic of Purim, which is the topic of the psychology of Achashverosh. The reason why I feel this is very important, this is important just in a generalized way. When you want to go and when you want to understand something, when you understand let's say you want to understand someone. So if you understand where that person is coming from, that will answer a lot more questions that you will have. And I'll give you an example that happens day to day in my life, where I have, let's say, somebody talk to me, somebody ask me questions. So they'll ask me, let's say, a bunch of different questions. It could be ranging from like God to who knows what. And I obviously have to answer those questions. But then there's another aspect over here is why are they asking that question? Is there something deeper going beyond it? Sometimes the question is just a question. This is the reason why I need to know something. Can you answer it? But many times there's something more deeper going on. There is a root cause of a problem. Where this comes very often is where people start not believing in the Torah, not believing in Judaism, not believing in God. All these aspects doesn't come from because I'm so smart, I studied everything, and I couldn't figure it out. There's something deep inside, there's a root cause to that problem. So when you find the root cause to that problem, all of a sudden the other questions all fall away. So there's one thing, and this is how therapists work also. You have somebody goes to a therapist and say, I have anxiety, I am depressed, I blah, 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 I have all these issues. So the therapist or the psychiatrist doesn't say, okay, take these medications, and that's it. I mean, well, maybe some do, but you shouldn't go to those. The way that they're supposed to do is to figure out, why is it that you're having these problems? It's not enough, okay, so now you're sad, you're down, you're anxious, but why? There's something underlining the reason, and as soon as we uncover that and we deal with that, we uncover all the problems. We fix all the problems. Now, when you look at the Megillah, there are many, many questions that should come up. And we're going to go tonight, maybe we'll go through like 10 questions or so. And these are questions that everybody really should ask for it. But the fascinating thing is that we're going to focus on Achashverosh tonight. And when you understand Achashverosh, when you understand his psychology, all of a sudden the questions fall apart and everything starts making so much more sense. So we'll start off with the first pasuk in Esther. And that is, Vayihi b'mei Achashverosh hu Achashverosh. Translation, it wasn't the days of Achashverosh, he is Achashverosh. The obvious question that you should first ask the second that you open up the Megillah is, why are we talking this way? It was the days of Trump, he is Trump. Like, couldn't you just tell me it was the days of Trump, or he is Trump? Why do I need a double language of saying who he is? It's like, you imagine it can use this example in so many different variations. You're going somewhere and you're introducing yourself. Hi, my name is whatever, Joe. I don't know why I said Joe. I could just say Yoshua. That was my real name. But whatever it is, I went with Joe. Hi, my name is Joe. It was in the days of Joe. And then, you go, like, just stop. We got the point. Says Rashi. Rashi goes and says, you want to know why the Megillah repeats it? Because it's telling you that it's the same Achashverosh in the beginning of the story and the same Achashverosh in the end of the story. Meaning, he was a wicked man in the beginning, he was a wicked man in the end. Same man. This will bring us to question number one. Question number one is, what do you mean he's the same man? In the beginning of the story, he wanted to go and kill and destroy all the Jewish people. At the end of the story, he was favorite to the Jews. He's like, no, go and defend yourselves. Not only that, take the spoils from whoever's fighting against you. So he went from hating the Jews to loving the Jews. So why is Rashi telling us that he's the same man? He looks like he made a 180-degree turn. He looks like now all of a sudden he loves the Jews. He became better. He refined himself. Right? How does it work when a man and woman get married? A woman thinks, I'm going to change it. I'm going to fix him. Every man has a problem. He doesn't know those problems yet, but the woman will find it and he will fix it. So you may think, Achashverosh was a problematic man. Esther, as a woman, went, fixed him up, put his head in the right way, and now he loves the Jews and now everything works well. Says Rashi, no. Achashverosh was wicked from the beginning to the end. So question one is, how do we understand that? When it looks like he was really a lot better. Question number two is something that we have to focus today, and this is actually a topic that I was thinking of titling it, is the psychology of the parties. Because we're going to be speaking a lot about the parties today, but they're really focusing on Achashverosh. The question is here is, why did Achashverosh throw this party? And this question will be more stronger, in bad English, is when you understand the level of how this party went and what went down in this party. So that's question number 2. What was the purpose of the party? Question number 3 is Achashverosh asked his wife Vashti to come in without any clothes. Which man in the normal brain would want that? Even the secular, non-Jewish people do not want other men to go look at their wives. They find it very revolting. In fact, there are many fights that may or may not happen in places where they serve alcohol that start because one man was looking at another man's woman. Or what were you looking at? You know, like, even though, well, we're not going to get there. Okay, so the problem over here is that what psychologically fine-tuned man would want his wife to walk and, prance in front of everybody? It makes absolutely no sense. That's question number 3. Question number 4 is, we fast forward to the story, Esther gets married to Achashverosh. And Achashverosh asks her, so where are you from? And she somehow gets, no, I'm not telling you. But like, what? Imagine you're going on a date with a guy, and he picks you up, like, so where did you come from? Let the past be the past, let's focus on the future. Be like, well, all right, where did you grow up? Why do we got to worry about what happened in my previous 20 years of my life? Don't worry about it. The first thing you do is run the other way. And be like, the more that you pressure, and the more Achashverosh pressured her. It's like, so, where's, what type of nationality are you from? How did she get away with doing that? Imagine that. Imagine marrying someone you know nothing about. You know nothing about their past. Can I meet your parents? No, they're no longer alive. Any relatives? Nah, don't worry about it. Imagine one of those people, don't worry about it. This is Israeli style. You want to sell something. Hey, it's broken. Don't worry about it. Take it. It's good. Don't worry. They're like, no, it doesn't turn on. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Beautiful. Put it on your wall. You go, well, how do you keep on, don't worry about it. Everything is good. How did Esther get away with that? Did I ever ask? And he got away with so many, it wasn't like a week. It was years. Years. Achashverosh had no idea that his wife was Jewish. No idea. Imagine living with somebody you have no idea. Don't wish it on anybody. Imagine God forbid someone turns out the Muslim. Do you understand the significance of this question? So in order to understand this, let's look at, to understand these 4 questions, let's look at Achashverosh and a little bit of what his background was and what his goal was in life. So the Malbim goes and explains that during the time of Achashverosh, the Persia, the Egyptian empires, there was 2 ways that the rulership, the kings dealt with. There was a limited power and there was an unlimited power. So in a limited power rulership, the king was elected. People decided this guy is going to be the king, and he goes and he becomes king, and he's limited in his power. He was chosen by the people. Then there is an unlimited power. Unlimited power is like a dictator that he wasn't chosen by the people, he took it by force. And there are quite a few, the Malbim brings down 5 differences, we're going to go through 3. There's quite a few huge differences between the limited power and the unlimited power. So number 1, in the limited power, the national treasuries, the money of the state, of the government, belongs to the government. Now, the king that was elected can't say oh, I want it, this is my money now. No, it's not yours. You get whatever it is. Yes, he has obviously a tremendous amount of power, but the money doesn't belong to you. The Federal Reserve doesn't belong to Donald Trump. Let's think about it that way, right? The Federal Reserve belongs to the government, and Donald Trump works for the government. Now, in an unlimited power, and this type of rulership, is the Federal Reserve belongs to Donald Trump. The entire money of the government belongs to the king. That's difference number 1. Difference number 2 is that in a limited government, in a limited power, the king cannot make tremendous amount of policy changes. He can make changes as needed, but he can't start changing laws. He can't change major laws. And difference number 3 is the capital city cannot be changed in a limited power. In an unlimited power, he does whatever he wants. But in a limited power, the capital city doesn't change. So 3 things over here. Number 1, the money of the government belongs to the government, not to the king. Number 2, major policy changes can be done by the king. And number 3, the capital city cannot be changed. The difference is by a unlimited power, do whatever he wants. Whatever he wants, power is in his hand. Now, where was Achashverosh? Achashverosh, was he a limited power ruler or was he an unlimited power ruler? So when he came into play, when he came into as a king, he started off, he was a commoner. He had a lot of money. He was successful in what he did, and he ended up getting into power. And not only that, he also married Vashti. Vashti was the granddaughter of Nebuchadnezzar, which was the ruler of Babylon. and he sort of married into it, but he also conquered it. So he came in from two different angles. He conquered it, he had money, he had wealth, and he also married into the royalty. Now, when the people decided that, yeah, he's going to be king, the people, their mind was he's going to have limited power. You know, he married into Vashti, that's the power that he's going to have, limited. When Achashverosh walked into it, he's like, no, I'm not getting limited. I am getting unlimited power. That is my goal over here. Now, the Malbim, so beautifully, as you go through the story, you see why Achashverosh picked certain things to do certain things a certain way, which may seem psychotic, and it is, but the reason why he did it, he was focusing on one point, and that point was, let me show everybody that I am not here with a limited power, I am here with unlimited power. So let's go on and see how this comes into play. So, when Achashverosh goes and makes his party, he invites, it's very interesting, when you invite somebody, how do you generally invite? You invite first the royalties, and then you invite the lower level, and then the lower level, and then slowly after that, that's the invitation goes out. It's not, let's say you have a servant that's working in the castle, and then you have a high government official, and the servant goes to the high government official, so you got your invitation to Achashverosh's party. Be like, what are you talking about? What Achashverosh? What party? He doesn't know what he's talking about. So the way that it should go, first the higher government official, then the lower and the lower level. What did Achashverosh do? He did the opposite. First the lower, and then the higher, and then he went up backwards. Why did he do that backwards? To show all those high government powers. And by the way, I don't need you. You're not necessary for me to rule. You and the servant are exactly the same to me. He was displaying an idea into their mind. I have unlimited power, and you make no difference to me. He's enforcing this. Number two, he also goes, where does he make this party? In the courtyard. The courtyard of the king was only for like high government officials. What did he do? He invited all the common people as well. He says, this and this, you're the same to me. You mean nothing to me. What did he do furthermore? He took his wealth and he opened it up. First of all, we have to start asking, like, no one does that. Even if you have the closest friend, they'll share that they have marriage problems, they have children problems, they have infertility problems. They'll share. One thing people don't share is their bank account. They'll share everything else, right? They'll share what's the worst of the worst that's happening in life. The money, that's at the end. There is, if someone's sharing with you how much money they're making, then you know that's a different level. So we look over here, and even you look at the wealthiest people in the world, how do they decide who's wealthy? How does Forbes decide who's the wealthiest? They don't knock on, Jeff Bezos' door and be like, show me your statements. Where do you belong? Like a number 1, number 2, number 3. They go and they estimate based on, different, factors how much they're roughly worth. Maybe some people go and send in and be like to Forbes, hey, by the way, you put me number 43. I'm really 35. You made a mistake over here. Maybe in this day and age that would happen. But generally speaking, you have to go and estimate. Why? Because people don't want to show off their wealth. They don't show off everything that they have. They want to keep it's something that's private. So you look at it, why in the world did Achashverosh opened up his wealth for everybody? Go and see exactly how much I'm worth. It makes absolutely no sense. But you know what's even furthermore, something beautiful? That you look at his psychology. His psychology was that I have here unlimited power. Now if I have here unlimited power, so what does that mean? The wealth of the government belongs to him or it belongs to the government? It belongs to him. If it would belong to the government, he has absolutely no right to go and show it to everybody else. It doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the government. But what is he showing? He's opening up his doors to everybody else, saying, what? This belongs to me? Proof? I'm showing it, I'm going and sharing it with everybody else. Everybody's coming in over here. So the entire focus, the theme of this party, was check out how much power I have. This is all mine. Now, let's look a little bit about this party. Achashverosh had a lot of things doing in this party. Number one, he had a very interesting rule. If somebody goes and breaks something or damages something in the palace unintentionally, don't have to pay any damage. Now, for anybody who has kids could understand this. Let's say you're going to a nice place. It could be a nice hole, doesn't matter, whatever it is, a nice place. And your kids are running all over the place. You cannot enjoy yourself. Imagine there's a priceless vase over here, and there's another teapot over here that's from China. Where's the place? Shuen, China? Whatever. Not now. Wuhan. Whatever it is. From China, so no one's touching that one. But there's another vase from whatever it is. There's certain vase that's priceless. Bless you. There's certain, what do? You can't enjoy yourself. Don't run over there. Don't touch it. Don't jump on the wall. What is going on? You're going point depending on your kids, right? Sometimes it's over there. So you're going and you're running around. You're saying what's going on. You can't enjoy yourself. And not only that, sometimes if you're nervous, you can't let loose when you can't, fully do whatever it is that you want. Even if you have some people, let's say they want to drink, they feel like there's a certain place, okay, it's not appropriate, it's not this, maybe I'm going to throw up at the king's carpet. The king put over here, rugs its weight was valued in gold. It was the most expensive rugs in the world. And under that, they had the most expensive marble in the world. And they had the most expensive curtains and the most expensive art. Everything was, the ambiance over there was ridiculous. So somebody is sitting over there, how are they going to enjoy? They're sitting on this couch. You know how they used to eat in the olden days, right? They used to recline. I don't understand it, right? They used to imagine trying to sip a wine while you're reclining. It drips all over you. We tried every Pesach, right? That's why the men wear kittles, because we always spill. It's our bibs. So, you know, when you go and when you think about it, like, you're leaning, reclining, you know, eating a grape or whatever it is, and you're drinking wine and something spills, you can enjoy yourself. But what does Achashverosh say? No, don't worry about it. Anything unintentional, all expenses covered, just enjoy yourself. Let your kids run on the wall. And by the way, it was a kids, you know, were in this party as well. Kids go up the wall, doesn't matter. They break things, they rip things, don't worry about it. I got it, it's on me. Then he goes and he makes it was like a wine party. This is very famous. It was a very famous wine. You know, like if you are of a certain age, you could have that type of aged wine, which is ridiculously expensive. He was, you know, he had, if you want the wine, you wanted foreign, you wanted local, you wanted chilled, you wanted, you know, warm. Whatever it is that you wanted wine, it was taken care of. Not only that, it was even furthermore, the cups that you drank from weren't plastic, you know, nothing against Amazing Savings, but, you know, those plastic look like silver, you know, goblets, you know, that you were drinking from them and then you squeeze it too hard and it shatters. It was real gold with jewels on it. And the second that you finished it, you were like, you know what, I'll have another one. You take it, you hold out your cup. The waiter's like, no. He had a little pouch over there. He's like, that cup, it's yours, keep it. And he takes out another bejeweled, bedazzled cup and be like, and this is your new cup. I'd be like, wait a minute, what should I do with this one? It's like, no, take it home, do whatever you want with it. Be like, this is for me to keep? Be like, yeah, enjoy it, it's yours. Be like, you know, can I have 4 more? You know, like, I have a few more drinks over there. And you walk around like this, you're drinking. As soon as you finish a cup, it's yours. It's yours to keep. And these are expensive cups. All of a sudden, this is a business. You think Jews are not going to go to that thing? You know, of course, it's a huge business coming over here. You can make your year's salary just collecting these types of cups. Not only that, the food over there, the party was for 180 days. This, 6 months. There was never a repeat in the menu. Now, I could speak to somebody, you know, people that can appreciate it. I speak to men, be like, yo, what's the big deal? You know, like, because they've never cooked in their life. But you speak to, you know, like, imagine having to cook 180 days, never to repeat the menu. You'll go out of your mind. What are you supposed to do? How many variations of steak can you make? How many variations of chicken? But in this party, nothing was repeated. So it was such an elaborate type of party. And furthermore, there was something very interesting. Achashverosh went and he gave the enjoyment to 4 out of the 5 senses. Anybody know which sense he didn't give the enjoyment to? Music. Music, very good. He didn't give there was no music. The question is, why not? You think about it. You go to the most upscale restaurant, what do they have? They have music playing in the background. They have music. Some restaurants, I really feel that the hechsher, the hashgacha, should include the music. Because some restaurants, you go in there and I don't know why they're playing the certain types of music. It really bothers me. I don't know why. It's a kosher restaurant and you know you have religious people sitting over there. Why you're playing non-Jewish music? Beyond me, I don't understand it. But let's say you go to a fancy restaurant, it plays classical music. You go to a really, really high class, whatever it is, I don't know, so you have a violinist sitting by your table, you know, playing for you. You know, whatever it is, so you think about it, there's music. There's always music that's, you know, that comes into it. If Achashverosh is trying to pull it all, why did he take out the music? Let's look on how much money he spent on this type of, on these parties. So this party lasted for 180 days. The Midrashim tell us that the amount of money that he spent on one day, let's put it this way, the amount of food that he prepared for one day was enough to last a 180-day party. Wow. Meaning, so every single day that he made a party, that was enough to last 180 days. Meaning that this party that he made for 180 days was not just enough food for 180 days, it was 180 times 180. Which means is the amount of food that he has made for the party was 32,400. 180 times 100. That's how much money he spent on those 6 months party. Now, we think about it. It wasn't, you know, created. It was not for like one person. He made for this 32,000 day party enough for the entire people that came in there. Meaning that if you divide that by 365, you're going to roughly 88 years. 88 years worth of food per person that he gave on this 6 month party. Meaning that if you went to this party, if he wouldn't have done this party, he could have given you enough food for your lifetime. Not you, everybody that came in. That's how much he went and he spent to them. But it's not only that. The Midrashim tell us that the 7-day party, after the 180 days, there was a 7-day party. The amount of money that he spent on the 7-day party was equal to the amount of money that he spent on the 180-day party. So he spent another 32,400. So you're talking about 64,800 days worth of parties that he spent on his party, which is ridiculous. Okay, so you want to make it over the top. It makes you a question. Now the question gets even stronger. Why did Achashverosh put all this money towards this party? Like, what was so significant about this party for him? He was very, very wealthy. He had money. But even if you have money, you don't see, when was the last time you were invited to Bill Gates' It's Purim Bash? Right. So, I don't know. Maybe. So, let's take this another step. What did he do also? He went, and Achashverosh during this party abolished all sales tax. No sales tax. Everyone had a good feeling, like when you buy something and it's discounted, the Jewish feeling that comes inside, it's partially, Gan Eden, like a little part of that. So he abolished sales tax, for, during that time. Now, you know how sometimes you're in a location and you're in a situation and you're like, it's the moment. And that moment's like, I really shouldn't be here, right? Like imagine you have to go and you have to pray mincha and you walk into a room and there's a bunch of crosses everywhere and you're like, I shouldn't be here. Like this is not where I should be. Like one of those like shouldn't be aha, but sometimes like aha moments. Yeah, this is not for me. That happened during this party. So Achashverosh goes to the Jewish people and he starts comparing himself to God. He says, just as God sustained the world and doesn't ask anything in return, so too I. I invite you to the party asking nothing in return. So the Jewish people were like, oh, why did you say that? It's going to make us feel bad. Now we shouldn't be here. He comes in with a big dekun, the Kohen Gadol, be like, that's not, I shouldn't be here. That's not good, And then furthermore, he goes and he says, do you think God is going to give you this type of feast in Gan Eden after 120? I don't know if he said after 120, but he said, do you think God's going to give you this type of feast over here? And they were like, ooh, okay, stepped over the line over here. Like, yeah, come on, he stepped over. So what happened? The Jews were like, all right, we got to be careful over here. There's something, something is a little bit fishy over here. Something doesn't smell right. But what happens after the first cup of wine? Be like, yeah, but you know what? Another cup of wine. And then by the third cup of wine, you'd be like, really, he's honoring the Kohen Gadol. You know how people go, and the second they start sinning, it's a mitzvah. What is he saying? The Gemara comes out, right? He doesn't mean that he's going against God. Really, what he means is that he loves God so much, and by coming over here, we're enjoying God, and we're appreciating God. It's a mitzvah that we have to stay here. It will be a averah to leave. You know how the Satan works. So when you're doing something bad, I have this constantly, it's my comedy, daily, inspiration for humor is when people call me up and they're about to do a bad sin, but really I need it. You don't understand. It's going to make me feel so, obviously, I'm like, I don't know what you think of. But they go and they make it into a mitzvah. They turn it. So that's what wine does. So wine, originally you have over here something, and it's bad. You're not supposed to be here. You're like, oh, there's a bunch of crosses. I really shouldn't pray over here. But it's a spiritual place. I mean, they believe in God over here. Is it better for me to go to an atheistic place? So all of a sudden things start, turning in your mind. Is it? No, don't. Yeah. Do not go pray in a place where there's crosses. Okay. So now, before we understand why Achashverosh threw this party, we have to understand another question, and that is the question regarding the queen. What was up with the queen? Why did he ask the queen to come out without any clothes? It makes absolutely no sense. So, when did this come out? Anybody know when this happened? When did Vashti go and was supposed to come out? Where in the party?
It was the last day.
Last day of 7 days. What day was that? Besides that, there was something else.
Yom Kippur?
It was Yom Kippur. Very good. It was Yom Kippur.
You know why we know? Because we listened to your Purim.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, there you go. So there you go. It was Yom Kippur. So the majority of the Jews weren't there, or probably all the Jews would say weren't there. What happened? During that day, Achashverosh, the way that he worked the party was that he was a good host. He was pouring everybody wine, mingling with them. So how's everything doing? Blah, blah, blah. He's, chit-chatting. And then the seventh day of the final day of the party, he's like, you know what? Time to let loose. He's like, bring me the good stuff. He went and he started drinking, he started pounding the wine, and he started getting drunk. And what happens when you have a bunch of goyim, bunch of non-Jews drinking together? What are they going to start speaking about? The stock market? No, they're not going to speak about that. What do they start arguing arguing with each other, which woman is more prettier than the other one. And, the Babylonians saying this, and the Persians are saying this, and the Ethiopians are saying this, and everybody's saying their woman is the most beautiful woman. What does Achashverosh say? He says, all you guys, I've got nothing on me. He says, my wife is the most prettiest wife of everybody else. And they're all like, yeah, sure. You take a horse and you dress him in a queen's clothing, she'll look nice. That's what happens when you drink. You stop thinking. Yeah, you say horse to the queen. So he goes and he says, oh, you think it's the clothing? I'll prove it to you. I'll show you that she's more beautiful than all of your women without any of this clothing. So he goes and he calls them to go and to come out without any, to her to come out without any clothing. The question is, why is that so important to him? Why does he care? If you have confidence, you don't have to show it. How does it work? On social media, when you see, stepping on dangerous grounds now, social media, when you see pictures nonstop about how amazing my wife is, my husband is, whatever, you know that there's problems in that house. You don't have to send it out to the world to show how amazing. If it's amazing, you keep it closed. You keep it inside the house. But why is it all of a sudden everyone's saying, how amazing it is? Because you start showing it off. So what is the insecurity that's going on in Achashverosh that he feels he has to show the world that his wife is more prettier and more beautiful than the entire world? He's just trying to focus in unlimited power. He could simply say, hey, my wife is the prettiest wife, zip it. What would everybody do? They're like, yeah, of course, your wife's, what were you thinking about? Yeah, of course, yeah, a horse, no, it's a unicorn of a horse. This is unbelievable. They'll go and to bring it to a different level. So why did he care so much? So now, let's try to understand, why was she so embarrassed to come out? Because,
you're not speaking about someone who's
obviously, right, she wasn't on a high level. So it's a good question. Why was she embarrassed to come out? One of the reasons is when Achashverosh went and he told Vashti to come out, how did he say? He said that Vashti, the queen, should come out without any clothes. What did he say first? Vashti and then the queen. Meaning that it was a point that he was focused at, saying that you want to know why you're queen? You're not Queen Vashti, you're Vashti the queen, meaning that you are nothing without me. It's not like you are a high level. The only reason why I married you is because you're the most beautiful woman. That's the only reason, not because you have some power. And that's why he sent the smallest of the servants to go and call her. And what did she respond back when she says, I'm not going back? She says Queen Vashti. She put Queen first and then Vashti afterwards. She says no. Said a long time. And then she said it's Queen and then Vashti. So he's trying to imbue in her also and all the people that I married this woman. You think to consolidate my, because she comes from the heritage? I didn't marry her that way. I married her because she's beautiful and no other reason. So Vashti was a hurt to her arrogance. Be like, what? You think that's what I am? I ain't coming out for you. You don't know me. Like, I am not going to do that. And she goes and she refuses for that. And then obviously, as the things went by, we know the end of the story where, she grew extra parts where it was a little bit difficult for her to come out, even though she wanted to come out.
Did she have some else?
There is one opinion of that, yeah. So now, let's look about why Achashverosh did this. Why did he want her to come out without any clothes? So you look at Achashverosh ruling over 127 different countries, provinces. And he has one question on his mind. Now, I own this majority of the world. How do I keep it that way? How do I keep it that this is going to belong to me and this is going to stay in my possession? So he was thinking, and then he thought about one word was the answer. And the answer is parties. That's how I'm going to keep it. So what did he do? He invited all the dignitaries, all the middle managers, he invited everybody from all the other countries, come in and come to my party. Now, what was his idea by that? He threw such a crazy party with the intent that people on the party have an unbelievable time. Then they go back to their countries, and everyone's going to be like, so, how was Persia? Did you enjoy yourself? What happened over there? And what he wanted people to say is like, you have no idea what happened. All I could say is what happens in Persia stays in Persia. Like that, you have no clue the type of party that he threw. It was off the hook. It was like all these things that were ridiculous. He was saying like the guy, this Persian, king just throws. We saw his wealth. He's unbelievable wealthy. And all of a sudden, the entire world is going to be here about like, wow, look at the party that Achashverosh. So what the entire world is going to be like? Be like, you heard about Persia? Be like, yeah, we're under the rulership. All of a sudden, they want to be part of Persia. Persia is cool. Persia is awesome. Persia is amazing. Persia's got the money, it's got the power, it's got the beauty, it's got the wealth, it's got everything going for it. So Achashverosh is thinking, how am I going to keep my 127 provinces? He went and he threw a party to go and get everybody to want to come to them, want to come and stay under his rulership. And this is one of the reasons that you have corporate parties. You have people that spend upwards of $500,000 on a party, on a holiday party. And you think about it, why would a corporate, institution want to spend so much money on a party? So there's obviously, employee appreciation. There's many different facets of it. But one of the facets is be like, well, this party's got money. This business has got money. I want to stay with. Look at the party that they threw. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. I know a very partially successful business, a tremendous amount of money that they had to borrow. They weren't doing well in a certain period of time, and they had to borrow money. They borrowed. So I got to $500,000. They borrowed $500,000 to throw a party. They were barely making payroll, but they decided that they needed to borrow another $500,000 to go and make a party. That's how important it was, for them. So again, it was right or wrong, whatever. It's irrelevant for this discussion. But the idea over here is Achashverosh wanted to make this party. This party is so amazing, so awesome that you want to be here. This is his way of keeping his countries. Now, let's look at why he wanted Vashti to come out. So he had the power, he had the wealth, he wanted another aspect of this circle that he was going for, and that is the beauty. He wanted to know the beauty, and what represents the beauty? The queen. He wanted everybody to see the beauty of the queen, showing that this is what represents Persia. The most beautiful woman you have ever seen in your life, it's the queen. And they went and they saw her without this and without that. It would bring it to another whole level. But when you look at this, so his focus over here was two things. Number one is his party. He wanted to do it to show that he has absolute, complete control. The money is my money. The wealth is my wealth. All you people are exactly, he said that, you people, right? All you people are slaves to me. You mean they're like the same level to me. And then he goes and he says, like now that I have this complete unlimited power, how am I going to keep it? So before, if let's say you own a company and you want to give your workers more work, you need to increase their workload. So one way is just to increase the workload and then they're not going to be happy. But if it would be smart, when would you do it? You first give the bonus. And then you'd be like, or you first give an increase in salary, and by the way, here is your increased workload. So it's sort of like bribing them into doing something extra, and now they feel like they want to do it. So what Achashverosh is saying is like, now I have unlimited power. But I can go up there and say unlimited power. No, but come, look, check it out. I'm going to share my wealth with you. I'm going to share my influence with you. I'm going to share my wine with you, everything. So it's sort of like bribing them to show them that he has this unlimited power. And not only that he has unlimited power, but he also has the beauty, everything going on for him in his kingdom. Now, what happens over here when Vashti refuses? You think about it. Vashti refuses, so he goes and he kills her. The guy's psychotic. I mean, he's Persian, whatever. Now, so I'm saying he's psychotic, right? Like, what are you doing? Like, okay, so the second your wife says no, you're going to kill her? Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. What was he doing then? And this was based off Haman. He was trying to go and he was trying to say, like, no, you need to kill her. Why do you need to kill Vashti now? And Haman was the one who gave that instructions to go and kill her. Why? He says, Achashverosh, you went and you spent so much money for 180 days. You said 64,000 parties you could have made with this. And you did it for what? To show that you have unlimited power. What are the people going to say? He says, this guy can't even control his wife. That's how he spoke that day. Right? I can't even control my wife. Hey, you can't even control your wife. How are you going to control an entire country? You asked your wife to come out. You refused to listen to you. You think we're going to stay under your rule? Says Haman to Achashverosh, everything that you worked for, everything that you built in this party is all with one swooping motion. Your woman destroyed it all. You have no choice but to kill her. So Achashverosh says, you know what, you're right. What am I going to do? I have to kill her. And he goes and he decides that the only way that he could keep his control, keep his power, again, that's his psychology. That's his focus. His focus is to keep the control, keep the power. Now Vashti goes against it. So now he has to go and he has to kill her. But there was another reason. So far, so good? Yeah. Okay. So now there's another reason why he made this party. And the reason is the reason for every problem in the world. So some news that may rhyme with BNN say. And that is the Jews. All right? Why did he make the party? For the Jews. Now, the Gemara in Megillah, page 12a, says that one of the reasons that Achashverosh did this party is he wanted the Jewish people to sin. And what type of sin? You know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu soneh zimah, he hates immorality. God hates immorality. So he wanted the Jewish people to go and sin. And they made studies on the Jews. They focused on the Jews, and they studied the Jews, and they saw that when the Jews sin, then God distances himself from them and it's bad for the Jews. And that's why Vashti herself also, she made a party for the woman. Why did she make a party for the woman? What was her focus on the party for the woman? If, let's say, somebody's in a hypothetical situation, a man and a woman are in a relationship. If the woman holds strong in, let's say, Shomer Negiah, then the man has no other option. But if the woman falls, forget about it, right? It's only a matter of time before the man is going to fall. The woman has a certain power over here that is more than the man. In certain areas, a woman can control the man. In this area, more than the man control himself. And Vashti was focusing on, if we get the woman to sin in immorality, if we get them to fall in this, then it's only a matter of time before the men fall. So her focus was also to go and destroy the Jewish mentality, the Jewish holiness. And why was she so into this? She comes from Nebuchadnezzar. Her grandfather went and destroyed the temple. He destroyed the temple when she was 12 years old. You're talking about now, she's about 18, 6 years goes by, and she's over here 6. So she remembers why, this is what her grandfather worked so hard to destroy the temple. So she wanted to keep it that way. How do you keep it that way? Make sure the Jewish people sin. And the Jewish people needed to sin, and that's what the focus was. And Achashverosh and Vashti, their focus was, they wanted the Jewish people to sin. Why do they care so much about the Jews? Like, just leave us alone, let us do our thing, we'll go in and we'll wrap some stuff around, we'll wear some stuff over our head, just leave us alone. Why does it care so much? And furthermore, now that we could review all the details that I gave you about the party, it all starts making sense of why he did it a certain way to help the Jewish people sin. You know what he said? What happens if somebody goes and breaks something? Don't worry about it. No consequences. When you think no consequences, he says no consequences, not for the physical, not for the spiritual. Don't worry about anything. Relax, enjoy. You break something, it's okay. You sin, don't worry about it. He's giving the mentality of do whatever it is that you want. Why did he not put any music? Music is a power that brings you to a higher level. If somebody listens to music, there are people that go and they're down. They listen to music, all of a sudden it raises their spirits. More than anything else, music has the power to connect your soul. The reason why is very interesting, why you have, let's say, lullabies to children. Why the children, you sing all these types of music. I'm not talking about Mozart and all the whatever stuff. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying when a soul is in heaven, what do they hear? They hear Shirah of the Malachim. The angels singing Shirah praises to God. So music is a connection to the soul. So the music, when a little infant hears music, it reminds him or her of what went on in Shemayim, the Shirah that was sung. So there's a connection to spirituality with music. Achashverosh says the point of this party is to get the Jewish people to sin. If I'm going to go and put music, it's going to raise them to a spiritual level. It's going to raise the spiritual level. I don't want it. So he says better that there's no music. Even though he would have hired 50 cents and he would have went, he said, no, I don't want any music. There's nothing, not a quarter, not a 50 cent, not a 75, nothing, no music whatsoever. Not even classical music he didn't want to put. So now, this is also why, what did he do? He canceled the sales tax. What happens? If you think about it, where do people fall into sin more? When they're down, depressed, and very, low on their luck, and everything bad is happening to them, or when everything good is happening to them, and they're successful, they're closing business deals after business, they're making money, and everything is going great in their life. If you want to know the answer to this question, look at where you see more churches, more synagogues. Do you see them in the wealthy areas, or do you see it more in the poor areas? 100% in the poor areas you see all things. Why? Because people they feel like a need for it. But when someone's going something so everything's working so well, they close the deal. What do they want? They want to celebrate. They want to party. So what did Achashverosh says? No sales tax. You're making money on this. You want this drink? Take the cup. So people were making money by drinking. They're elated. What do you mean? I just paid my mortgage. I just paid my next month's mortgage. I just paid that. They're making money over here, so they feel happy. They feel more likely to go and fall into sin. And of course, this is what wine does. You have your wine, you're drinking the wine, so your inhibitions go down. You have the restraint goes down as well. Also brings you to another level of sin. So now, we have to go here, and we have to see when Vashti goes in, and she has to come in without any clothes over here. So what was his focus was? Number one, it was that Vashti will be more beautiful than anybody else. But number two is also that what happens that once the queen does it, then it's only a matter of time before the minister do it, and it's only a matter of time before the regular people. Eventually, this is the type of party that's going to turn into. It's the type of party turn into that it's going to be, without, women are going to be mingling with men, without, sufficient clothing, and so on and so forth. Now, this is the same concept as once you get the woman to go and fall into it, it's like the first fad. She was trying to, Achashverosh was trying to start this fad of, this woman mingling with men without, sufficient, clothing. So, what happens? The Jewish people go into the party and they unfortunately go and they sin in the party. Then they go and Vashti gets killed by this party because she didn't come. And then you have Queen Esther comes out and she is now the queen for quite a few years. And now all of a sudden there's a decree for the entire Jewish nation to go and be destroyed. And now Esther has to figure out a way how to annul this decree. Now I just gave you a quick synopsis. We're zooming fast forward through the story. Now we're going to the next parties. We didn't answer questions yet. We still have questions. But now let's look at the next party. The next party is Esther. So Esther, you have to think about it. What is Esther doing? Esther goes, and the entire Jewish people are at risk for annihilation. They were decreed to be destroyed. And Esther's like, you know what I'm going to do? Parties. Let's make parties. Achashverosh, Haman, just like, come into the... What was her thought process behind it? So when Esther comes into Achashverosh, if you know the background of this, is that Mordechai goes over to Esther and says, hey, by the way, go to Achashverosh, your husband, speak to him about the Jewish people. And what does Esther say? She says, listen, he hasn't called me with more than 30 days. It's been a while. I can't just barge in over here. And Mordechai says, no, you better go in. And she decides that she's going to go in. She goes in. She fasts, she prepares, she goes in. When she goes in, the rule was that if Achashverosh went and you came in and he didn't go and extend his scepter to you, then you are dead. And in walks in Esther after not being called in for over 30 days. And Achashverosh, initially, what he wanted to do, kill her. He's like, and in his mind, he was like, look at the irony. He's like, my first wife, I called her, she didn't come, I had to kill her. My second wife, I didn't call her, she came, I have to kill her. It's like, you think about the irony of this, but then that was his focus. He was going to go and he was going to kill her. And then he looked at her. The angel made him look at her. And he sort of like a calming sensation came over himself, and he decided, Malach Esther, what do you need? What do you want? Apt to have the kingdom. He was going to go and he was going to give her. As it says in Esther chapter 5, verse 3, what is it that you need, Esther the queen? And what is your request? Obviously, you didn't come and risk your life for nothing. I will give you apt to half the kingdom. When is it the last time that a woman went over to her husband and say, I have a favor to ask you. Up to half my business, half my house, I'll give it to you. First of all, it's a weird way of talking, right? Like, why would you say that? Nowadays it's weird because a woman says, what are you talking about? It's all mine, nothing to do with you. So, but you look at it, the Megillah, the Gemara Megillah, page 15b says, what does it mean, ad chatzia malchut? What does it mean, up to half the kingdom? You know what Achashverosh is telling her? Achashverosh is telling her, I'm going to give you everything. What's half the kingdom? I'm not going to build the Bet HaMikdash. That's what the Gemara says when he means, when he says up to half the kingdom. He says, because that's going to split up my kingdom, I'm not going to do that. We're going to have to ask a few questions on this. Number one, now we're going to answer all the questions at that. Number one, Achashverosh at this point did not know she is Jewish. He had no idea she is Jewish. She hid her nationality, she hid where she comes from. She comes in after 30 days. Why does he even think about the Bet HaMikdash? She comes in and be like, I'll give you anything, but don't start talking to me about this Jewish Bet HaMikdash. Be like, what's a Jewish Bet HaMikdash? Like, for all he knows, she could be Hindu. Like, what does it have to do with the Bet HaMikdash? So that's question number one. Question number two, what does he have against the Bet HaMikdash? Like, let them build a Bet HaMikdash. They'll pay your taxes. Who cares? Since when does the government care if you want to build a certain, in a faraway land, you want to follow this religion, you want to follow that? Who cares? As long as you pay the taxes, that's all they care about. So why did Achashverosh care so much about the Bet HaMikdash? That's question number two. Question number three is somewhat related to this, is you have over here Mordechai. We're jumping all over the story, so you have to know the story for this type of class. Mordechai goes, and he has to get rewarded by Achashverosh. What does Achashverosh do with the reward for him? All right, you're going to wear the king's clothes. You're going to ride the king's horse, and you're going to go down the street, and now everybody's going to say, this is what should be done to the king, to a person who a king wants to honor. What type of reward is that? Had you ever heard of this reward? Like, imagine you go and you save like Bill Gates' life. And your reward is we'll walk you through the conference room and, with the Microsoft executives and be like, this is what you'll wear, the Bill Gates, clothing, which is from Target, whatever it is, right? You will go and you will dress exactly. And what type of reward is that? Give it money. What you give it? What the type of reward is like? We'll dress you up like a king and we'll drive you in the horse. Have you ever heard a type of reward? That makes absolutely no sense. What's the king thinking of giving Mordechai this type of reward? That's question number three. Question number four is, Esther comes into Achashverosh. She hasn't seen him in 30 days. She's risking her life. He goes over to her, he gives her, hands out the scepter. She goes, she touches, she's saved, that's, free for all. She's okay. And then she goes, and then Achashverosh goes to her and says, what do you want? I'll give you up to half the kingdom. He's opening up the floor for her. Why doesn't she just say, can you save the Jewish people? Just lay it out. What did she say? No, can you come to my party, please? And the next day, can you come to another party of mine? Just every day he's asking you, what do you want? Tell her, what do you want? Why do you got to go to another party? Why do you give her a party? You understand the question? The question is when you think about it, it makes absolutely no sense. And if you didn't have this question before, you have to think about it. Why didn't I have this question before? So let's go through a few reasons of why Esther did this. Okay, so far you guys are following with me? You're with me? Good, okay. So now, Esther becomes queen. And she finds favor in his. She finds favor, right? But what does it say? She went and she found favor in his eyes. And what happened? Esther didn't divulge her background. She didn't say where she comes from. Now let's try to understand why. Why didn't she do that? So when Vashti was killed, why was she killed? Because of her arrogance. We said before that Vashti was very arrogant. She says, no, I'm the queen and then I'm Vashti. And Achashverosh was like, no, you're Vashti and then you're queen. But because of her arrogance, of her Babylonian heritage, she had this kavod, this honor, and she did not want to go in front. She did not submit herself to the king. So because of that, he had her killed. So now, there was a reality show that was going on in Persia during that time. Who wants to marry a king? Right? That was going on. Right? And what happened over here? So you had all the eligible bachelorettes come in, and they would go and they could ask for whatever it is that they want and they needed. Esther didn't ask for anything. She didn't ask for anything. And then Achashverosh goes over to her and he says, so where are you from? I guess one of their long walks on the beach, whenever, I don't know, whatever. You know, he went and he started interrogating, what it is that you want? I want nothing. I don't need anything. Where do you come from? Doesn't matter. How did she sell it doesn't matter? Because what was happening? Achashverosh's problem with Vashti was, look where I came from. You know where I came from? Where I came from matters a lot. Esther says, it doesn't matter where I came from. What do you want me to be? You want me to be the Persian queen? I'll be the Persian queen. You want me to be this? I'll be whatever it is that you want. Don't worry about the past. So she worked that angle into Achashverosh. Achashverosh was like, that's what I want. That's exactly what I need. I don't want somebody that's going to go arrogant about, oh, you know where I come from? I come from the tribe of Binyamin. I come from, power. I come from, royalty. He doesn't want any of that. He wanted to go somebody that says, you know what, Achashverosh? I am whatever it is that you want me to be. So she goes in, and you know how she sells it? That she doesn't say? Because that's what he was looking for. He wanted somebody that is completely submissive, doesn't have any background whatsoever. That is perfect of what he wanted. His goal was to have this figure that was the feminine aspect of Persia. And that's what he got. She would be whatever it is that he would want her to be. So now, the problem is that let's say this is her persona that she's displaying for certain amount of years, and all of a sudden Achashverosh is saying, so what is it that you want? I'll give you up to half the kingdom. If she says, oh, by the way, I'm Jewish and I want to save my Jewish people, so that falls apart. Her entire persona that she has from the beginning says, wait a minute, so you've been lying to me all along? So you do have a nationality, you do care about the Jewish people, you do have this more than the Persian Empire, so that when she comes in initially, she couldn't just say what she wanted, even though Achashverosh was offering her everything. She says, no, I have to work it very, very carefully, because if I do this right away, then it's going to fall on its face. Achashverosh is going to see through it. He's going to say, wait a minute, what's going on over here? I thought you are the feminine aspect of Persia. Now you tell me that you're not? So she couldn't ask for it. That's why she says, you know what, I want you to come to my party. And look what happened when she goes and she invites Achashverosh to her party. But not only that, she doesn't only invite Achashverosh, she also invites Haman to her party. Now we have to understand why she invited Haman to her party. So Esther was taking her playbook from Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov, when he went to prepare himself against Esav, he did it in 3 stages. Number 1 is prayer. Number 2 is appeasement to Esav. And number 3 is battle. And that's what Esther did. Number 1, she did prayer. She fasted. Number 2 is appeasement. She invited a Haman to party number 1. The battle would be party number 2. And we'll soon see how that battle entails. So now, when you look at the psukim, in Esther chapter 5 verse 4, she goes and she invites Haman and Achashverosh to the party. So the first party, this is how it works. Yavo HaMelech v'Haman, says Esther, let the king and Haman, Hayom, come today, El HaMishtet, to the party, Asher Asiti Lo, that I made for him. He says, Haman, Achashverosh, I want you to come to the party that I did for him. Wait a minute, who's for him? So Achashverosh starts thinking, his brain starts turning, she's making a party, he said just for him. Doesn't say for Achashverosh, and she's inviting. So first he starts thinking, he's like, did she make the party for me? If she made the party for me, then why is she inviting Haman? And then he's like, well, maybe she's making the party for him, but why is she making the party for him? So his mind is starting to work over here, and he's starting to think, like, what's going on with Esther? Like, why is she inviting, the second to the command? Does she something maybe going on? Like, who knows, how men's mind starts working. So then look at the second party. She plays on this aspect even more. Esther chapter 5 verse 8. It says, Yavo HaMelech v'Haman el HaMishteh, let again the Melech, the king, and Haman to the party, Asher Asiti Lahem, that I did for them. So it went in from lo to like singular. No, now I'm making this party for both of you. Equal playing grounds. Achashverosh is like, what? What do you mean for them? You're making the party for me and Haman together. We're on the same, she's honoring Haman and Achashverosh on the same level. That's why when Achashverosh went and he sent the invitation to Haman, what did he say? He said, you better come to the party that Esther invited you. Meaning that don't think that you're at such a high level that you're higher than the queen. The queen is higher than you. He was trying to belittle. He was like focusing like, what's going on over here? So he says, Esther is higher than you, Haman. Now what happens over here? Achashverosh starts thinking, this is the second night, right? That's after the first party. She invited Haman to the first party. Why did she do that? And then she invited Haman to a second party. So then he started thinking, it's like maybe something's going on between them. Is there maybe something, sketchy going on over here? And, as the mind is going on for him, he's it's starting to bother him. He's like, well, maybe the opposite. Maybe Haman is trying to kill me. Maybe she's trying to kill me and they're trying to run away together. Like, how minds start working. It's like the unknown is very, goes crazy. Imagine somebody goes to a doctor and he gets his blood work, and the doctor is looking at the blood work, and then he does his like, ooh, oh, that's not good, and they're like, Doc, what's going on? I'd be like, oh, no, it's nothing. And be like, oh my gosh, we're going to run some extra tests. You'd be like, Doc, what's going on? I'd be like, nah, don't worry about it. We just have to run some extra tests. You want a corona? We're just going to run some extra tests. We don't know. Let's just, we're just doing extra precautions of what's going on over here. So, the unknown, when you don't know what's going on, all of a sudden your blood pressure through the roof. Forget about it. You can't sleep. Be like, the doctor's like, yeah, call us next week. Can I call you in an hour? Yeah, can I pay extra to do this expedited? Can we do 1 day shipping instead of what's going on? So you want to do it. So Achashverosh is working on the unknown. Is something happening with Esther? Is something happening with Haman? Are they trying to go against me? Are they working together? Who knows what's going on? So he has all these thoughts going on in his mind. Therefore, it's no wonder that Esther, chapter 6, verse 1, it says, that night the king's sleep was disturbed. Of course he was disturbed. He was thinking about Esther. He was thinking about Haman and what's going on between them. So what is he thinking about? He's like, you know what? Maybe they're trying to kill me. Maybe they're trying to poison. But then Achashverosh is thinking, they're not going to poison me. Anybody knows that somebody who tries to poison the king or tries to kill the king and they figure out the plot, they're going to get heavily rewarded. So they wouldn't do that. And then I was just thinking, like, wait a minute. Maybe it has happened before that somebody saved the king's life and he didn't get rewarded. So people think that by going and saving the king's life, it's not worth it. So what does he say? He calls the Sefer HaZichronot, bring in the books of the remembrance. Let's see what's going on over here. Is there any situation in history that someone tried to save my life and I didn't pay them back? And that's where he comes and uncovers that Mordechai saved his life. And Mordechai saved his life and he didn't pay him back. This is where it all comes in. But what does he learn from this? He says, wait a minute. He says, if Mordechai, who he knew raised Esther, saved his life, then all of a sudden he's like, okay, so Esther must be loyal to me. So something is going on. All of a sudden, Esther is using an amazing psychology that Achashverosh is starting to like, what's going on with Haman? Something's weird going on over here. Something fishy, is going on with him. And that is also, when he fell asleep that night, he had a dream that Haman tried to kill him. And then, we're not going to get to this part of the story. Right when he woke up, who knocks on the door in the middle of the early morning is Haman. And what does he say with Achashverosh? Achashverosh walks in, what should we do to somebody that the king wants to honor? He's thinking about Mordechai. He has to honor him. What does Haman say? Keeps throwing the king's clothes, the king's horse, the king's crown. You let them ride over there. He's throwing it, making it that it seems like Haman is trying to overtake the king. And this is why the king Achashverosh figured, I got to deflate this guy's ego. He says, you know what? Yes. You know what's going to happen? You are going to go and you're going to do this to Mordechai. So Haman says, why do I have to do it? He says, no, Achashverosh wanted Haman to do it because Haman was getting too powerful. The ego was too much. He was too nervous what was going on with Esther, what was going on with Haman, what's going on with this party. We got to bring him low. We got to lower him down. So the king wanted Haman to act as a stable boy. So what happens? Haman takes Mordechai against his will, and he goes and he starts carrying it through the streets, screaming, this is what should be done to the king, to the person the king wants to honor. Then what happens? So Haman walks past by his house, and he had a daughter, and the daughter looks down, and she sees somebody carrying somebody else. And who does she think? Someone's leading somebody else. Who's she thinking? Mordechai is probably the one in the front. Haman is probably the one riding on the horse. So what she decides she's going to do is, back then, the toilets didn't flush. They went in a certain area, and she took that area and she threw it on the person that was guarding Mordechai. And who did it land on? It landed on Haman. And Haman is covered in feces, and he's like, what just happened? He looks up, And he sees, to his shock, it was thrown by his daughter. His daughter was in such shock that she saw her father's face over there. She was such in shock, she actually committed suicide. She jumped off the ledge over there and she died on the spot. Haman had no choice. It was under strict king's orders. He had to continue. He couldn't even mourn for his daughter. He continued, and this is where, after he led Mordechai through the streets, this is all of a sudden where he had to go back now to the second party. So that was all introduction of what's happening now in the second party. So the second party, Haman is down, right? It's really nahapachu. Everything turned around on him. He didn't have a chance to shower. He is smelling in feces. He is disturbed. He's bothered. He's down in the dumps. And he's going over and he gets into this party. And now Esther is going to decide, this is the party where I'm going to tell Achashverosh what is it that I need. And what happens? She tells him, listen, I come from royalty. I come from the tribe of Benjamin, which Shaul HaMelech, which comes, with the king of the Jewish nation. And she goes and she tells Achashverosh like this. It's in chapter 7, verse 4. It says, Ki nibakanu ani ve'ami. We were sold, me and my nation, la'ashmid la'horeg u'la'abed. We went and we were sold to be destroyed. And what does she say? She says, me and the people of my nation. What she's going and telling Achashverosh is now something of, look at it, so specific. She goes and she tells him, says, I need you to save me. You're like I need, she was looking for her knight in shining armor now to go and say, men have this need to go and save the woman. It's like that's why when a woman goes and she goes to the man and she says, I had a terrible day today, and she just wants to vent. No solutions. I don't want to hear any solutions. I just want to complain. That's all I want to do. But a man is like, wait a minute, I have the solutions. I'm your man in shining armor. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to do that. And she's like, well, you don't even listen to me. You don't even know what I'm talking about. Right? And then it's shalom bayit. So why? Because a woman wants to vent. A man wants to fix. Why does he want to fix? I'm saving you. My damsel in distress. I'm here to save you. There's a man need for that. A woman just wants to vent, but a man needs to go and save it. So she was playing on that. Esther says, I need you to save me. I was sold, me and my nation. First she said me. First, I need you to save me. So Achashverosh, now how did she play this? So Achashverosh, that's how to play this. This is obviously Ashgacha. This is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But what happened over here? Achashverosh was looking for this feminine embodiment of Persia. And she says, I'm still that. I'm still the feminine embodiment. But right now, I'm stuck. I need a savior. I need somebody to go and save me. It's not about that I was always, this is something that I was hiding from you. As I'm telling you right now that if you don't save me right now, I am going to die. And my entire nation is going to die. So instead of knocking off the fact that she's not the embodiment, the feminine aspect of Persia, she is. But now she needs saving, and that's why she couldn't ask it initially. She had to go and she built it up. But how did she build it up? She says the Gemara, she went and she made Haman, she made Achashverosh jealous that there's something going on with Haman. And to the extent that she knew there was a possibility that she and Haman would get killed. And she was willing to take that risk. Meaning that if I go and I die and Haman will die, at least, we'll take the decree with us. So she was willing to go and risk everything for that. But what angle did she work on? She worked on the fact that could get Haman, let Achashverosh be jealous of Haman. He has too much power, this guy. He is due for trouble that's going to happen over here. So she worked on that, on that angle. Now, Achashverosh is sitting over here. And she says, what? Somebody is trying to kill my queen? Who is it? Who is this guy that's trying to kill it? And she points and she says, it's Haman. And Haman is like, what? He's like, I didn't even know she was Jewish. He was like shocked. And all of a sudden, this knocked off a few things. First of all, the questions that she had, that Achashverosh had, is she having any faithful issues? With Haman, obviously that went right out the window. She went and she's like, wait a minute, no, Haman is now trying to kill my wife. All of a sudden, it's sort of like, it's a different type of buildup. There's the martial arts called judo. And judo is where, if let's say you're fighting a large opponent, you're not going to be able to go and hurt this opponent because it's too big. So what you do is that you use his momentum to go and bring him down. So when he punches, you take the punch and you continue the momentum and you move it away and you make him fall on the floor. It's like using the momentum of the opponent for your benefit. So Esther was now, she's built this tremendous momentum of there's something going on. So Achashverosh is like, oh, his blood pressure is going up over here. Something is going on. And with the last second, what she did was, and she's like, Achashverosh, before she leaned on the side and she's like, this is the guy. That's who you got to hit his punches for. And he's like, what? Haman? And he was going beyond himself. He's like, my second in command went and wanted to go and kill my queen. He wanted to kill my queen's people. It made absolutely no, it bothered him so much that he had to step outside. He had to get some air on the balcony. He goes out, and as he's going out, he's starting to think. Meanwhile, Haman and and Esther are by themselves in this party. And Achashverosh is thinking, and he's like, could it be the second man? And then he's thinking about, wait a minute. Who was the one that got me to kill my first wife? Vashti? Was Haman. Who was the one now that's getting me to kill my second wife? That's Haman. There's something going on over here. He's starting to connect the dots. There's something wrong over here. And then he thinks like, wait a minute. He drank a lot during that time. And he's like, there must be something going on. And then he's like, I left Esther and I left Haman together in the room alone. He's like, what was I thinking? And he runs back. As he's running back, what was happening during that time in the scene was taking place in Esther's in the party was Haman now is working on trying to go and beg Esther for forgiveness to try. He realized that it's not looking good for him. He just he's feces all over, right? He's wearing cologne a la natural. He is like in a situation that he does not want to be in. He knows that he's going down. So as he's going and he wants to go and he wants to like bow down, show respect to Esther, suddenly Achashverosh is this moment runs in. He barges in. And he barges in, Haman, as he's bowing down, jumps. But he slips, and now Esther was laying on the couch, like we said, they used to lay on the couch. So Haman falls on top of Esther. And this is the scene that Achashverosh walks right into. And that's what Achashverosh is saying, what? While I'm in the house? You're trying to go and kill her while I'm in the house? And this is what led to eventually having Haman get killed and get hung on the tree. Now, we could go and we could start answering some of the questions. Let's look at Achashverosh's personality. Achashverosh's personality was what? That he wanted complete unlimited power. And not only that he wanted he wanted to keep it that way. So he threw parties, and he threw parties in a specific angle that is saying that you are under my command. You are my servants. Now what happens? He hated the Jews. Now, why did he hate the Jews? So we never answered that question. Why did he have such a we spoke about that he wanted the Bet HaMikdash. Why does he care? So because he wanted this power and he wanted to keep this power, what was very common during those days is for the kings and the rulers to go over to the astrologers or the magicians of the time and say, look in the stars and see who is going to take over my throne. Who is going to sit on the throne after me? Why would this be so important? So they would know who they have to be careful for. If, let's say, they're fighting a battle against a certain, nation or nationality, they have to realize, okay, this is where they're going to take me over. Restructure my, my methods of what I need to do. This is something that they were very, very paranoid at the time. So the astrologers look into the stars and they say, you know who's going to take you over? There's going to be a Jew. A Jew is going to take you over. And he's saying, a Jew is going to take me over? He's like, what do you mean? I can't have this Jew. So what does he want to do? He wanted to make sure that the Jewish people fall to the lowest level, that they had no power whatsoever. At Chatzia Malchut, you know why he cared so much about the temple? He says, because this is going to be my downfall. If the Jewish people go and rebuild the temple, they're going to revolt and they're going to take me over. He says, Esther, I'll give you everything, but I can't give you this, because my whole focus is what? Is I want to keep my power. I want it, so I have to get the Jews, I cannot build them the temple. And he wanted to go and get the Jewish people to sin. Why did he want the Jewish people? Why did he care about the Jewish people? Why did he want to sin so badly? Because he wanted to make sure that his unlimited power stays unlimited. He wanted to make sure that he stays in power. He wanted to make sure that his, the people that will take him over are not going to be the Jewish people. What happened all the way at the end? All the way at the end, Esther comes and says, I am Jewish and my nation is Jewish. All of a sudden, something clicks in him. He's like, wait a minute, if you're Jewish, then my child is Jewish. And if my child is Jewish, that means that my child is going to take over my throne. So why did I don't have a problem with the Jews. No. The Jews, all of a sudden, there was 180 degrees. First, he wanted to kill all the Jews. Everything. All of a sudden, after Haman gets hung, no, the Jews could protect themselves. Not only they could take the spoils in the war. He changed 180 degrees because his hatred towards the Jews was what? They were taking my power. Everything that I worked so hard, 180-day party, the focus that I did, they're taking it away. Oh, no, that's not going to happen. All of a sudden, he realized that his son is Jewish. Oh, then it's, whatever. It's cool. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Is it true that Esther was like a really old, she was not a young woman?
Depending on the interpretation, yeah, some say that she was old, yeah, but she was able to have a child. She did have a child, Darius II, who ended up, side note, he ended up building the Bet HaMikdash, through him. So,
but did not she send a demon or whatever?
Let's okay. Before you get to that, yes. So let's go through those questions afterwards. So. We're almost finished over here. So what's happening, thank you. What's happening over here is now let's look. So far so good, you guys are, okay, we're wrapping it up right now. So in 2 minutes. So thank you. Let's look to the original question. The original question that we asked was on the first pasuk. Really, right now, we're just explaining the first pasuk. This is the first pasuk. Okay? The first pasuk in Esther, it says, what? Vayhi b'mei Achashverosh, hu Achashverosh. The question that we ask is, why are you repeating it? We know it's Achashverosh. Why do you have to repeat it? It says, Rashi, it's the same wicked Achashverosh from the beginning to the end. But we ask our first question, but I don't understand. How is he the same wicked one? All of a sudden, in the beginning, he hated the Jews. At the end, he loved the Jews. Why is he considered wicked? And the answer is because his mentality didn't change. He didn't love the Jews anymore. His mentality, his psychology was one thing, keeping my empire. And if this is where I'm going to keep my empire, then fine. What's going to happen down the line if someone convinces him that a Jew of a different descent is going to go and take him over? Then he's going to hate the Jews again. He was the same wicked king from the beginning to the end, no matter what you see, because his psychology did not change. His psychology did not change, and this is why we can answer a question that we didn't even ask yet. The last pasuk in Esther, it says that and this is down in Rashi, that Mordechai kept it. He was raised to high power. It's like think about it as like a prime minister. And what happened is that after the Jews were saved, he stayed in power. And a lot of the Sanhedrin says, why are you staying in power? Politics are not good for people. They corrupt. People would spend upwards of $500 million to get into politics. It's corruption that goes. I'm not saying that this person is corrupt. I'm just saying that it changes you. So the Sanhedrin says, Mordechai, the risk is gone. The Jewish people are saved. The Jewish people no longer have to be worried about it. Esther, Achashverosh, everybody, the decree went by. You go back to the Bet Midrash, go learn. And Mordechai says, no, I have to stay in politics. The question is why. So a lot of the Sanhedrin didn't agree with him. You want to know why Mordechai decided he needed to stay? It's because hu Achashverosh, it's the same Achashverosh. Don't be fooled thinking that he's different and he's better and the decree is done now. You don't know with this guy, there's something loose over there that who knows, somebody else could come by, convince him. Mordechai felt that he had to go and he had to stay over here. So we see over here so beautifully. We ask so many questions. Why did he make this party? Why did Vashti have to come in? Why did no music? Why against the Bet HaMikdash? Why did he care so much about Esther's background? All these questions that we ask, the 10 plus questions that we ask, all get answered when you understand what's the psychology of Achashverosh. The psychology of Achashverosh was, I want to keep my kingdom. And not only I want to keep it, I want to make sure that it's unlimited power. And when you understand that, you understand all the aspects of what's going on back and forth. And when you understand what his mentality was, now you can understand the psychology of Esther and why she had to go and invite him to the parties. And now when you understand the psychology of Esther, all of a sudden you understand how everything works in. And this is why we say that the story of Purim is a story where God is hidden. Because it looks like geniuses in the play. It's like this one is working in psychology, and this one is working in psychology, and this one's manipulating, and this one's manipulating, but really HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going and orchestrating everything from up above. So far, so good? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Any questions?
Okay.
Yes? Demon questions. There's different opinions of how old she was. Some say she was younger, some say she was older.
So what's her age?
Typical Jewish.
She died?
Oh, I don't know what age she died. It's a good question. She had a son, Darius II, and that son eventually took power, and that son also let the Jewish people build the Bet HaMikdash.
But eventually she was actually married to Mordechai. She was his wife, no?
Different opinions. If she was a wife, and how she went in it, it's a class in itself. More than a class in itself. Maybe we should do that next year if I remember.
But did he give her divorce to marry the Achashverosh,
So again, it's a class in itself to understand it. How did she do that? And then it's part of your question with the demon and how that worked. And then the last time it wasn't with the demon. It's a whole discussion in itself. It's not a simple 1, 2, 3 answer, but it's a good question. It's a great answer, right? Answer is great question. Yeah, it's just too long to go to get into it. And how? I'll read the Midrashim to explain to you what happened.
I know that the last time when she actually has to go to him, she told that she has to go and she has to leave the Mordechai at that point when she actually meets the king. But all the time, you were saying that she was living in a palace for a longer time.
Quite a few years. Mm-hmm.
So all the time she never actually.
Never actually was with Yep. Mm-hmm. How do we understand that what she did? What?
But they had a baby, no?
They had a baby after the story of Purim. It was after that, yeah. Again, I feel like I'm going to end up giving the lecture now, but it's a long thing to understand how she did it and why she did it and how she get to doing it. Interesting topic. Any other questions that are not resolved around demons and babies? All right. No? Okay, Chazak Baruch.